All right, we are going live. We are going live, but I probably will have to either delete or edit this video because it will be slow. I think I will go slow. Right now I will put here in the under the description. I'll put the a link to participation. You can even participate by phone. So it's a Zoom meeting, and I'm pasting it right here. And you can participate through Zoom or through phone. Save. Done. Okay. Allah, 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 Allah. So join me now. I posted that meeting on, I can post it on also on Facebook too. I will post it on Facebook as well. La, 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 la. Copy link. Let's see if it works. There'll be some sound. Yep. I will post it on Facebook as well. Weird. Wrong video is shown. Oh, la, la, la. Sorry for the delay. I'm trying to post it on the Facebook, and right now there is a little. Okay, here, a little delay. Get shareable link. Trying to get it. Okay. Now it should go here on Facebook, and it shows the wrong link. The system is not working properly. Save. List. Hey, I see myself. I see myself. Yep, it shows the wrong link. Anyway, but it's fine. It doesn't show the image. It shows the link. The link works fine, and the image is wrong. That's some bug in the Facebook, which I might actually try to fix. Just a sec. Join me if you on Facebook, or you can find on YouTube under that video there is a link for join. Now there should be a post, and now I should be able to refresh attachment. Nope. Save. Yeah, YouTube broadcast doesn't. Yeah, I think that's just Facebook fighting YouTube. That's what is happening. I'll just hide that post. Anyway, so you can find me on Facebook on my page and on hucolo.org. I mean, and Hucolo group. And it doesn't let me to post. Oh, okay, Hucolo. All right. All right, you can find me in Hucolo group on Facebook, or you can find me the link under the video here on YouTube. Done. Hello, we are starting. Today is March 16th, 2020. And now is 11:25 in the evening, Pacific time. And it is about 10 days of recession and about, I would say, from the new year, the progression of the pandemic. And the pandemic has reached the United States. And I just asked around if anybody knows people who were diagnosed positively for the virus, coronavirus, and 4 people answered. And altogether, it looks like it's actually real. It's actually real. It's not a conspiracy. It's not. I mean, it's not a fake. It's not a conspiratorial fake. It still could be a biological weapon. So essentially, what's the difference between a natural virus and a biological weapon? If it is a natural virus, or at least biological, if it's spreading naturally, it is very infectious. It would spread and spread and spread. If it is a biological weapon which is seeded here and there, then it spreads and fades away, basically, because they they might design it. I mean, normally they would design it so they would infect a city, and then it would spread, 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 and stop. So, but looking at the map, it looks like it's pretty uniform around the globe. So it's unlikely that they actually, like some bad guys, conspirators, that they see it's everywhere, because the distribution is pretty natural. It looks pretty natural. And also the curves that they show on the side. I'm used to look at the curves of biological entities growth and even the viruses growth, and the curves look also very natural. They're pretty real, pretty natural. The exponent is pretty natural. The how it goes, and then it kind of grows, and it slows down. All of those look pretty real. Hey, cat. Let's see, what do I do here? I think I need to do the speaker view. Yep. Okay, speaker view. I think that's how it looks. All right, so that's the situation. So it's real. It's multiplies. It infects pretty much more people um, than the regular flu. So normally, if the family catches a flu, everybody in the family catches, except sometimes 1 or 2 people are don't catch it. They kind of go through it, like maybe sneeze a little bit and go through. So this one is being more infectious, and I still don't believe it. I don't believe that RNA is very unstable. RNA virus can survive more than a day in outside of the body. It's weird. I need to still check the data. I think they might have tested it like overly cautiously. Maybe they put a lot of virus, like tons, and then they measured even the dead virus limit. I think they might have overestimated how long it lives. It doesn't look real that an RNA virus can survive like for a day. It's not typical. Anyway, so we will be checking that out. Now the treatments, like so, what do they do in the hospital? Basically, this virus, I heard, that doesn't affect the upper breathing pathways, but it does affect the lower lungs. So that's unusual. Normally you sneeze a lot, but for the corona, it's lower lungs, and it sort of likes the warmth, and so the lungs become inefficient, and people just lack oxygen, and that's the main trouble. And the lungs inflame and swell. So the main treatment they do is the oxygen. They put the mask or the breathing tube under the nose, like with the little holes, and um, and that's the main treatment. And in the hospital, so that's emergency care. How do you call it? Intensive care, right? Intensive care. Now, and then if that doesn't help, they do tubes inside the lungs, and they basically do artificial breathing. They kind of send air there. So that the oxygen you can do in home if you find the oxygen generator or the tank, but the intubation is pretty difficult to do yourself. So you really have to go undergo that. But I think like after 2 weeks people recover. So it's not impossible to get to recover. And the rates, the death rates are between 3% and 17% of infected. So hopefully, my hope is that the virus will evolve and lose its deadliness. Normally that's what they do. They evolve and become just regular cold, regular flu. So that's my main hope. Now, comparing the virus and the uh, economy recession, I think the economy recession is a more dangerous thing than the virus, because the virus is, I would estimate it's maybe like tenfold of a flu or 20-fold of a flu, even maybe between 5 and 20-fold of the damage of the flu. But we go through many flus and many colds, and it's just a stronger one. So, so small percent of population dies. But if the recession becomes an economic crash like it was in 1929, if you remember Great Depression, that killed many more people, as our friend Dr. Ram well noted. Like most of the people poor people are harmed more hunger, by hunger and lack of everything, lack of supplies, rather than from the virus. From the virus, they can live through, but if the economy crashes, they would have nothing to eat. Obviously, the whole system is very much messed up. All right, very much messed up. You can see it by the fact that there is so much land which is not used, so many opportunities which are closed. Like you want to garden, it's not everything is private, and it's not only private, it's private and unused. And if you want to do something, manufacture something, you find that it's impossible for many reasons. You cannot provide services for people for many reasons. It's a system which is resists common sense, right? And it's everywhere. So how do we go from here to uh, to find the positivity? First, we have to accept what it is. Allah, 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 ya Anna, Om, Allah, Hanna, Hanna. Just see it as it is without too much judgment. It's kind of clears your mind to see it as it is without pink glasses. Just accept it. Like that's where we are. That's where it is. So we have the economy shaky. It's not complete crash yet. It is, I would say, it's one of the worst in a few years, but maybe it's not as bad as 2008. It's comparable, and it's certainly not as bad as 1929. It can recover, and it can go up, or it can even continue horizontally. It's just fine, and it actually will be healthy for the economy to release some of the steam, some of the bubbles, some of the um, inflated amount of money. So the banks create the money just electronically. The whole system creates lots of money, and it also creates the money as debt. So, and it creates inequality. So when the money are created, they are created unequally. So just by economy going up, many people become poorer, and by economy going down, the poor people become a little bit richer, relatively richer. But if it goes slightly down, it equalizes the people. But if it goes to complete crash, it equalizes people at everybody being poor and having no supplies, nothing to eat. So there is a certain balance. Now we can see the clear future, what we really want, right? We want awakening of the humanity to the truth. And the truth is spiritual, the truth is galactic. The aliens are there and they're here and they are here to help. Oh, now I see. Oh, come here. Unmute, let me unmute you. Jonathan, is it you? Come here. Unmute, let me unmute you. Hello. Jonathan, is it you? Come here.
No, this is Kat.
Oh, hey, Kat.
Yeah,
Welcome
I'm having trouble connecting.
So what do you think? Oh, hey, Kat.
Yeah, I'm having trouble connecting. Yeah, looks fine now.
Do you have a message?
Well, the message is to stay healthy. Um, do some meditation. Get some good, nourishing food. I see people buy all kind of junks, foods, and just get some potatoes and have something to boil them. Potato, it's actually very good for the producing of almost any cell in the body. Uh, get some fruits, exercise a little bit if you have time, if you don't go to work. And even if you don't go to work, even if you go to work, just exercise a little bit, and it's going to be a bit of a crisis, but everyone who is doing the work, just continue the work that they're is doing, and yeah, it's as easy as that.
Do you have any messages from the spirits or the aliens?
I would continue if you want with by agreeing with what you mentioned about the virus. Is just uh, some Pleiadians, they did some tests. It's just a simple virus. It just spreads faster.
Mm-hmm.
They actually took samples from China, from Wuhan. It's not really something. Um, it's, however, they kind of, from what I'm seeing, they kind of planted in a good timing, because um, it coincides with the flu season that is coming, so they might make it even worse. And the substrate of the whole story, it's pure economic, um, big mass arrests, big the big power people, deep state. I've already heard that major pedophilia rings and stuff. I've already heard that major CEOs, they start to step down from their functions. So the substrate of all this, it seems to be more economic and finances. Um, it's in the direction of getting a better order, a better system, or reorganizing and um, um, just letting away the whole old um, system that was implemented, banks and I also heard news about technologies emerging after this period. So I heard good news. However, we have to go through this like purification or test. However, I'm sure you heard about all this stuff, Max.
Yeah, I heard about it. I don't know what to believe and what not to believe. Some of that seems pretty unbelievable. Um, I think the virus is real. It could be
It,
man created or alien created, but I think
no,
it.
no. From what I heard now, I heard it's from ETs. I heard it's man created, cabal created.
Mhm.
It just spreads faster, um, but it's just a regular flu. It's just a regular strain of flu virus. It's not as deadly as they say. If you look at statistics, there's more deaths coming from the flu virus than this coronavirus. It's just
Okay.
numbers.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's comparable. Maybe not more, but comparable. I think
It's
Corona
just
is manifold or tenfold, but still it's
exactly. The problem with this virus is that it spreads faster. That's the only attribute of
Mhm.
this thing.
And there is a long incubation period, so people go around spreading it without knowing.
Without knowing, yeah. But from I heard, because when I heard they closing schools, and I've heard in Montreal they mentioned that when they mentioned, like, maybe a few days ago, they're going to close schools, and the local government, they said, you have to expect for what is worse. From what I'm my like, let's say, intuition, I think they want to make it worse by by uh, this timing of seasonal flu, which is coming now. I mean, the spring is coming, and we're going to see more flu cases, and I think they're going to want to make a case actually much more bigger. Um, I've heard from many sources that it's good to prepare for like a food crisis. 2, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, get prepared to have some foods, canned foods. Um, I think one best option is just to have potatoes and apples. Apples are very good. um, um, water, water to drink. I've heard many sources saying that it's good to be prepared. I mean, just what, 200-300 bucks extra. I think it's not hurting. So I've already seen actually yesterday, and I'm visiting stores. In the meantime, I'm buying some dried fruits like dates or raisins, and like I said, potatoes. Um, I'm seeing the shelves are empty. Walmart, Walmart. The shelves actually today, the Walmart shelves, meat. I'm not eating meat. Occasionally, when if I go to some friends and I don't. But anyway, uh, but the meat shelf was actually empty. Um, Vegetables, I couldn't find potatoes. Onions, yes, but so that's a pretty um, you know interesting. The way it develops. If you can just get a little bit, have some preparation for like a month worth of foods and this is pretty much everywhere. My I have a friend from Romania. This the stores, the malls are actually empty.
All
So
right,
that
let me take it from here. So, yeah, we lived in Russia in 1990. We lived through that. Let me see what I need to do to change it. Let me see. Okay, it doesn't want to. Speaker view. Hello, hello. Okay, I'm here.
yeah, I can hear you.
All right. So, in Russia in 1990, we had a crisis. I think pretty much worse than what we have now in terms of Chernobyl in 86 and shortages of food in 90s, and we lived through that. And many other countries like the third world countries, you know, Africans, many third world countries, the people are used to living in poverty. It's only in America, I guess it was. It's the most prosperous. Like after the war, the Europe was in a huge crisis. So they recovered much later. There is still Europe is still in many ways much poorer than America. So in America, there are like a few generations that grew in prosperity. So we know how to survive on little. Um, but I still see how Americans react to the crisis and like say 9/11. There is some that shock of like Pearl Harbor or 9/11. It unites Americans and much good comes out of that actually.
Yes,
People get together and develop a
yes,
plan. It takes time. It takes like years for them to come together. It's the same with the Russians. Like takes years just to get together and for good people to come up with a plan and actually execute the plan. But actually they do that. Actually they do that. So I'm somewhat positive. I think that there is no real cause for shortages. It's just you know things are bought, but farmers would be happy to produce more. Like unlike in the cities and the farms, you know you go through your sickness, like you go through the virus, but then you produce lots more. To create a crisis, it would take like some special organization to create a crisis. I don't think they have the resources for that. They're bad guys. They have some resources, but I think the farmers still can do it. But if the economy crashes, then it's a different story.
No,
If the whole
yes, but the substrate of the whole thing is not, and the idea is not about food stuff or shortages. It's more deeper. It's a deep state, changing, mass arrests, big, deep state people going down. What we see, it's different. It's what they let us see. But for us to have a easier impact on us, we just have to be prepared. And like you said, this the other side of the coin. It's getting people unite, and this is already happening. I talked with someone from my country, from Romania, and actually, young people, they go buy groceries, whatever I'm not sure what they find now, and go help old people that they cannot go outside. And this is just amazing. Uh, they buy from their money, and people who deliver these goods, they pay, you know, at their turn, they pay these groceries. So yes, for it the whole purpose is to unite us at the end, you know, and also uh, wake us, you
awaken
know.
is,
Yeah.
yeah, I think awakening is happening really fast because people first they got tired of listening to the news. The news become just too
Yes.
scary to listen. So
Yes.
people start
Yes.
disconnecting from the news.
Yes.
And
Imagine, well, the news, they're going to sit maybe home and watch, but what news? But the way I saw it, I see old people, everyone, uh, sitting at home. This gives everyone more time to reflect. This is a time when then people start to awake. You know, what's really going on here? You know, who am I? Why? You know, it gives a more personal space. This is how I see it. No, don't you agree with me?
absolutely, yeah. I mean, you have to face a crisis, and you have to realize that things don't go right, and the system is messed up. And then once you stop trusting, then you start trying to discover the truth.
Yeah, yeah. So there's a very good time to sit with yourself, with everyone's self, you know, and reflect what's going on. Who are you? How do you feel? Um, Contemplate yourself, contemplate your life, what you want to do, how do you want to feel, you know. Who's leading, you know, in your own personal space? Who's leading, the government or a mayor or yourself, you know? Who's the leader here? Is it someone else, or you start to wake up and individualize, but individualize in, like, in a sort of um, self identification, not being more individualist, you know.
Right, right, right. Yeah, that's another challenge of being selfish versus dissolving into the interest of others. Because, like, we studied a lot of the history of the Second World War, what the Russian army did, and obviously in the army you have to sacrifice yourself for the good of others, but uh, most of the time they didn't fight. They basically were between the fights. And between the fights, you have to survive the winter, you have to survive the hunger. And there, if you just don't take care of yourself, you will just die from exhaustion, from sickness, from cold, and from hunger. So the good soldier was responsible for finding the provisions for himself and finding the gun for themselves and taking care of simple things in the hostile environment. You couldn't trust, that the gun wouldn't be stolen. So you would take care of stuff and you would collect stuff and you would trade stuff and that pretty much stayed in Russia. So people who were like completely selfless, they became the burden to the society because they couldn't take care of themselves. And that is happens when everybody is sort of very selfish and grabbing. Like the majority of population you couldn't trust, they would take as many resources as they could. In America, there is a lot of selfless people who like believe the system and who think it's inappropriate to take more than you need, and who wouldn't buy who wouldn't stock even the stuff for themselves. And I meet these people, and I don't know what to say. I mean, they are right, and the selfish people are right. And it really depends on the prediction. How long would you need to stay without food? For how long do you need to stock up? It's nice to live from day to day, but it works only in the environment when things go well. But in the times of depression, you really have to plan and stock stuff just because you need to survive and you need to take care of others. So I don't have the answer, but it's the challenge with self-perception. Where is you or where is others? Where is your interests? And what's your identity compared to the identity of others? And if others go their own way, then do you go with them or do you go your separate way? In this predicament, I like to connect to the future. I really see the bright future at the end. And I think that challenge with the virus, challenge with the pandemic, I think is pretty mild compared to what could have happened. It's not the World War yet.
Well, from my sources, this is just kind of the beginning. And you see, let me tell you something. It's the, if something catastrophic would happen and that's let's say it's a government work, people would still not believe it. Same happened in Russia. The people didn't believe that the system was the communist era, Stalin and everything. It was so bad because it continued, and still maybe 60-70% of people today, they don't believe what's happening today. They just, they're not realistic. I'm not saying you have to believe in this virus, but they see it. They see what's happening in the world, and they like, well, someone will take care of us. And it's part of the same illusion we live, the same not being awake yet. When you don't have this awakening, you live in disbelief. Even if you see out there it's happening, you've been pranked by the government and the system, and you still don't believe it's happening to you. I say, awakening is part of being realistic. Realistic doesn't mean to panic or, I see people buy stuff from the grocery stores, like tons and tons, that are not useful. Toilet paper? You kidding me? and this, and shampoo. Um, I've seen shampoo. People take shampoo for like a dozen. Really, this is the issue. You know, uh, they still don't. There's a realistic. Um, um, I heard people buying flour, but they forget uh, other ingredients. You know, we're still going on automation like a robot. We jump straight. Make a scenario. Make a scenario. Let's say uh, we don't have food. Okay, guy, get some potatoes. Okay, how do I boil the potato? I need a stove, some gas tank. You know, be be thoughtful. You know, thoughtful and realistic, and this is going to be much more easier. It's the same thing with the inner world. You know, your world of thoughts and feelings. If you're not thoughtful of yourself, how are you going to be awake? You know, I know it's a part of the awakening, everything that's happening, but I encourage everyone to be just more courageous, more brave. You know, have guts to confront. You know, your the sleepness. You know, I talk
Yeah,
with the
let's
guy.
bring the spiritual dimension to that. Basically, there is also angelic guidance, and maybe do a lot of planning, and other people would just remember Forrest Gump. Now, Forrest Gump was an example of person who doesn't plan for the future, who doesn't understand the situation, but he was guided perfectly well.
Yeah, well, that's what they make you believe. But Forrest Gump was far from being an awakened. You know,
He was just
it's
good.
yeah, but you know, I didn't see Forrest Gump that much of a. You can, if you're not in that control thing, like being awake. Um, I'm not sure how far if you're like a Forrest Gump type, how far you can get. Awake, awake. It's different than being selfless and in the flow.
He was in
Awake.
the flow and selfless, yeah. But
Yes,
he
yes.
was nice, and
I
there was good.
let you know what I think that the movie, it's a very good example of being in the flow.
He also had very nice integrity. He was really nice, loving,
Yeah,
respectful,
yeah,
and he was energized by the idea of like helping others. So that was
yeah,
that gave him. He wasn't selfish, and he was always honest, and that was what helped him. So that I think is what when we overthink and we like grab stuff and take care of our business, we lose that. We lose trust of others. And Forrest Gump was the other way around. People liked him because he was so transparent.
yeah. Yeah, it's a good example of, like you said, integrity, and these are qualities. You know, these are integrity. It's a quality. It's an awakened person state of quality, integrity. It's a integrity, Max. It's a spiritual term. Integrity is part of a whole being spiritual in Toltec um, not religion, what do you call it, in Toltec's, for Toltec's integrity, it's it's being, the not fulfilled, but whole. That's a big word. That's a big word. Integrity, it's an energy. It's a not narrow band, but it's a high vibration, high spiritual vibration. To have integrity, you need focus, you need awareness. That's total. It's a different level, but I know what you're saying about. I understand what you're saying about the example of Forrest Gump. I think we have to move on. Awakening. It's for people who are really awakening from the inside. That's the way I perceive it now in my meditation and work. Enlightening, it's happening. I think what's happening now, it's also a portal to propel people with a certain awakening to actually experience the next dimension.
Let's think about the
I
bigger
see.
picture.
I think I missed you a little bit. Can you repeat?
There is some interruption. I think maybe your internet connection is somehow slowed down.
Yeah, mine it's not so good.
I see the end. The end is pretty. After the shakeups, much of the old system will basically fall apart, and that's the time when the light workers and just good people can reunite. And awakening is the first step, and then there is joining the galaxy, and then there is ascension. And the major part of the ascension is telepathy. And I think now, as we are being shaken by those events that call for survival, there is also the pressure for us to develop the intuition and actually know things in advance intuitively, because there is not enough information. So intuition will develop, and with that intuition, there is like spiritual component of it is huge. So mind is not enough. There is like that third sense, sixth sense, and with that the telepathy comes when people can communicate on higher level without the cell phones. And especially the young people, I think they are born with much more of psychic, spiritual, and telepathic abilities. So when they end up in a new cleared system, I think there will be the explosion of the new way of communication and a new way of collective action. So far, you can see it in some startups, in some gigs, in some creative projects where just new generation, they do things very differently than the old one. The millennials, they work through collective creativity. And that collective creativity is very different. It's like rainforest, when everything is interconnected with everything else, when there is no hierarchy and there is not even competition. I think competition will be in the future. Competition, I think, will be considered something from the past, something shameful. Yeah, shameful.
Yeah, millennials, they don't have this competition stuff.
Some do, but I think it still will die away.
It's diluted. It's not the same like we have, like our generation we have. Um, I think the old generation has a very big advantage of being strained by old beliefs and old energies, because I'm telling you, and this is like 100% true. Um, there is a gem inside of so many system beliefs and old energy. There's a pearl in every stock energy that can propel you to be like a god. And um, I I I kind of urge people who do personal work to discover this gem that is in everyone. You can be propelled like almost to infinity if you can dig this big old energy stuff. You can be propelled like crazy. That's an advantage. That's an opportunity. Take advantage of this work stuff. That the more heavy stuff you have, the more you have. You can just like a slingshot. The more you can go, you can dive deep through your awareness, through your personal work. You can dive deep, as deep as this personal stuff it is. I used to believe that we didn't need old beliefs and old energies and stock energies and system beliefs. We did need that, but I'm seeing now that actually, and I appreciate them because they can propel you. I'm sure you heard a lot of times about the Earth, that it's actually unique in the universe. It's people. It's like people of God, and if you know how to take advantage of that, millennials, all generation, it's a different story. Millennials, they don't have this charge. They're evolved, but they it's hard. It's hard to they're natural. Um, in opposite to having heavy stuff, heavy lifter from the past. Um, 40s, 50s, 60s, being born that time, those times, there's a huge advantage. Um, I'm I'm I urge I urge people who think their stuff is heavy to work now, because now it's an immense, especially now, it's an immense opportunity to really awake. Be a godlike being.
Let me
Self-reflection.
share the experience of being in a positive flow. It's really hard to describe. I don't know, maybe some people can describe it better, but basically, if you, it's law of attraction. If you find a proper vibration and find the proper positivity, basically find positivity in yourself and believe in the positive outcomes, then at some point good opportunities start falling in your hands. Basically luck happens, just a series of a strike of luck. I guess it's called strike of luck or something like that. Series
Yeah.
of events, lucky events. They, as you go, they fall right into your hands, right into your path, and uh, it just takes you being open and also staying in that uh, state where you're able to grasp it. Because at some point, I become overwhelmed. Like if there is like now an opportune moment, and then next moment, and then next moment, and then next moment, then
in 2-3 days I become so exhausted that I have to like really disconnect and stop that series of, I just cannot take any more of good opportunities. What you wanted, like desperately wanted, like long time ago, like for a long time you wanted it, but if it comes, you can't really take all of that, right? So the art is to keep the balance even if things go your way. Keep the balance and balance the energy that flows through you, and keep clearing yourself up, and keep uh, improving your channels so your channels can process that much of the luck, that much of the good things. But then when the bad stripe starts, then it's an art also to keeping the faith in yourself, and convincing yourself that things will go right even if everything says otherwise. I guess that's it. Staying optimistic in the bad situation. Like we were saying that the crisis will come, the crisis will come, there will be a big disaster. We were saying that for forever, like really forever. Like the whole life we were preparing for that end of the world. And now here it is, right? It's the beginning of it, right? And and I repeat to myself, now it's for real. Now it started actually.
Exactly, it's real, yeah.
Yeah, now it's for real. Now it
Yeah.
started. Like 3 days as it started for me. Like, yeah, you can look at my Facebook. 3 days as I like. All right, now check mark, check mark. This is for real.
Yeah.
And what do you do? And to me, it's just kind of accepting that okay, we're here. Like a good example, a really good example. Like I don't know how many of you did kayaking through the rapids. You go through the calm water, like, and you have to row a lot, like
Like
really
rafting.
hard work. Kayaking, like you do through the lake, and then the lake goes through the river, and the river goes faster and faster, and basically you can delay it until a certain moment, but then you have to go through the rapids, and there is no return. It's like there is a point of no return, and you decide, do you go through the rapids or you go around? You take the kayak out and walk around. Actually, canoe. I did canoeing. I didn't do kayaking. Other people in our group did kayaking. I did canoeing. It's like a little bigger thing, but you can take it and carry it around. And right now, I feel like we are like we crossed that point of no return, and it started. And whatever we prepared, it's okay. I think it's just the headphones are messing up. So I think the thing started, and we are moving forward. And the series of events started, which will bring which will the dominoes started falling. That's basically it.
Exactly. So the idea is we are going kayaking, like rafting now, like you said. And the idea is just to stay focused on the river and on the driving the kayak, and just not throw yourself over the board in the river and don't get drowned.
Hello? Hello?
Hello, Karina.
Oh, I am very happy to meet awakened people. I am in Paris. Since few days I was really thinking why I attracted this reality, why I am not allowing myself to stay in positive vibrations. What is the purpose of this reality I manifested? And I notice during the day I swing very hard between frenetic hysteria, trying to find some roll toilet paper. I, it's a joke, but it's like this. And
Yeah, use
the
water. Use water.
I know it's rubbish, but it's as if I am doing this on purpose, only for the joke. For example, yesterday I was in supermarket, and you know it's not a place to be when there is some virus. You have to stay at home. The supermarket, I am not joking. It was like a jungle.
Yeah, yeah, it's funny. Me too. I find it funny. I find it funny, but let me tell you something. There's people who actually panic, and for them it's not a joke. And um, what do you do? Maybe you're in a better
Uh,
situation spiritually and emotionally.
I
But
know, but
what
I
if things get worse and you have actually nothing to lose?
I understand. I
How
understand.
you see them, but when you're put in a situation that actually touches you, it won't be funny.
It's a very interesting thought you are having, because in my in how do you say, understanding, I am now in one reality. I create myself and all my surrounding. The next second, I am in other reality based on my inner wounds, in scarce, in
Hmm.
problems. If I don't do enough meditation, I will never get myself in a better reality. So I think the people who are sharing this reality with me is not them. It's me creating them,
Exactly.
based on my lack of meditation, because I am not dealing with my own problems. And once I will start in the day-to-day basics, practicing more and following my high excitement, like painting
Yeah.
in my
let me
home. You
let me
understand?
get you a different perspective.
Okay.
What you see people panicking and everything. That's a reality that you cannot change. You cannot change what's happening with them. But what can you change actually? How you perceive, and perception comes from your beliefs. Once you clean your stuck energies and you stock your beliefs, your perception is changing. You won't even be touched by what you see. I see. I've been through some events. I saw people fighting, and you know what? I'm just. It doesn't even make me look. I'm just passing by. It doesn't belong to my thought system. It doesn't. Before, probably I would be like, excited, or even adrenaline rush happening. But and I was surprised to see that. So the more you work with yourself, the more things that don't matter actually don't matter to you.
Yes.
So what
Uh,
is actually matter to you when you see people in the store and panicking? What matters to you?
what
You can.
matters to me?
Yeah.
It's a question.
Yeah, I'm asking you what matters to you actually.
To get my roll of toilet paper. No, I'm joking. What's matter? Because I am swinging. Sometimes I am my lower self. Next second I am my higher self, and I remind me, don't. Sometimes I am thinking bad things, and I remember the next second, it's a joke. It's because you have a lesson to learn. So I get some channeling, some thoughts saying it's a joke. I get more happy, and maybe 2 hours later, I will get back to the lower self, praying for Italians. But it's because I notice in myself, I am not strong in the fact of thinking someone has my back. It's taking care. I am not trusting. I don't know why I cannot trust, because it's a point. Each time I am in doubt, in fear, it's because my trust is not strong enough. Do you understand?
Yes,
Yeah,
because
faith. Yeah, faith.
you put every time, many times in your life, you put trust outside of you.
Hmm.
Trust, it's not that you have to trust someone or something. Trust, it's an energy. It's a
Hmm.
it's a power. It's a personal power energy. Trust. If you want me to get a better image, this trust is like you um, you put yourself in a situation where you don't have power. You don't decide. Someone else is deciding for you. Trust, it's an energy. You don't need to trust someone or something.
But it's not you who create. It's your higher self. So with your lower mind, you cannot
Yes, yes.
decide.
Yes. If you repeat trust, trust, and tune into the energy of this word. Repeat this word, trust, and let the energy flow to you. And it has a it can clear this trust. This trust, doubt, it's like being disconnected, disconnecting.
Yes. Yes.
No, it makes sense, no?
Yeah, totally. I think you very explaining me well what I am dealing with.
The consequence of distrust and doubt, it's disconnection.
Mhm.
But you
So
don't
I have to do more meditation and finding what's preventing me of being
exactly
trustworthy.
trust. You know what it means? Trust means to look back
Let
to
go.
you. No, means it's partially let go, but it means look again to yourself. Look again to yourself.
Okay.
You see how it's fixing
I
your
think the identity I have of myself. I don't want to take too much time walking because I know maybe someone wants to tell something, so we have to do short. Um, I think the identity of myself I have of being
there's
small.
identity. There are
Yes.
many components of a
Yes.
human being.
Okay.
There's identity, there's a self-awareness, there's a personal power. Personal power is the most affected by doubt and distrust,
Okay.
because when you have doubt, your personal power goes negative.
Ah.
It's just like a dog following its master without any.
Okay.
Yep.
It's
When you
great.
Karina, where
Thank
from are
you.
you speaking?
huh
Paris.
Paris?
Today I received a later paper I have to sign if I want to go out of my home. All is closed. Yesterday, all the supermarkets, post office went down
wow, wow,
because Parisian people are delusional. They are all going to the how do you say no, not the grocery, the green market on the street. We say the
like
marché.
marché, pas marché
Au
aux puces,
plus. So yes, like this,
marché aux
but
puces.
for the grocery, yes, it's forbidden, but they do all this kind of stuff. They go to parks, they because some people now are no more working. The work is forbidden, so they have nothing to do. So now they start to go out, meet people, and it's forbidden. So this was yesterday. Now the president says we will call the army and you cannot go out of your home. So I wanted to find a, vacuum cleaner, paper bags to make some masks, but now I cannot.
Karina, get some food, get some provisions and water.
Since it has begun in China, I am doing stuff.
Yeah, it's stuck, and get something to eat. Paper. I don't know. I don't understand why people buy paper because like
I don't understand, and why people are fighting for paper.
So Karina,
yeah.
where from are you?
Paris.
Are you Parisian?
I was born here,
Oh, I
but
see.
I am mixed. But it's what I wanted to say. Yes, I found this very, very funny, and I am sure if we decide not to elongate this with the power of the mind and the right meditation, we can change. I feel a little sick, and in the day-to-day life, I am trying to heal this. Say, I am not sick. I am not sick, but something is not working because I feel a little sick in my throat. So I think it's a lesson. I know here there is no more space in the hospital, so soon there will be people dying because no more space in the services. I think maybe I am possible of healing, but maybe I have a lesson to learn. Do you understand, people?
Yes, you can heal. I experience not being sick for the last 8 years, and uh, all with meditation. And you have to master somehow
Yes,
this art of self seeing.
yes.
But I have observed that it helps if you exercise like 10 minutes a day, like jogging a little bit around
Yoga.
the
Yes, I understand. I exercise the body.
yoga. It's
I
okay. Meditation, that's mandatory.
Yes, I
That's
understand.
mandatory. But exercising like little running to make the blood, to oxygenate the
Blood.
blood.
Yes, I
Oxygen is
understand.
vital for functional of every cell in the body. So by
Yes,
doing this, you accelerate a little bit your blood flow, oxygenation. Um, um, you clean the liver. Actually, when you jump, when you run, and you jump, the jumping up and down, it's cleaning the liver. It's an exercise for the liver.
I have problem with the liver. I didn't knew. I wanted to say a last thing. I am very happy with what is happening because people now has the opportunity to stop and to see what is wrong. For myself, I have the opportunity to
Yes,
stay at
yes,
home and to do the
yes.
right thing of meditation and to deal with my fear. And I am very happy because with this we can bring better things after that.
Yeah. Do you remember, Max, what we told about
Crisis,
giving
I know.
Max? It's this break gives people a break from the regular daily tasks like job, and it lets
Exactly.
people stay in their home and meditate and be happy about themselves. It gives them a space. So this
Exactly.
Let's do a little
And
meditation to
Karina is
give.
confirming it's our first.
Again?
yes,
Yeah, let's do a little meditation to give Karina some healing. Like put up the hand. So we bring the angelic energy to Karina. And we clear the throat chakra. And we clear the liver. Chris, what did you want to say? Do you want to unmute yourself and speak? Okay.
Thank you very much.
No.
Goodbye.
Chris is silent. Okay, whatever you wish. Karina, thanks for joining.
Bienvenue, Karina.
Yeah, talking about toilet paper, I'm in the bathroom just because everybody is sleeping, so I have to do my broadcast from the bathroom. Yeah,
great ideas come when you're in the bathroom.
Right. So there was a time in Moscow when things were going down, and to get outside to the United States, I needed a PhD. And things were so messy, like nothing was working. But the institute was still there, and the old institute was reorganized. So we had a new we moved into another building, and we were finding in the trash some stuff to work with. And I said, okay, while I need the PhD thesis, how about I organize the committee? So organize the committee to make the PhD. Just a second. Okay, I'll speak quieter. So I will organize a PhD committee, and we will do a PhD thesis defense. So I needed to write actually the thesis, and it was impossible to write it in the madness of the city. The family was like, the kids they didn't let me, to write. So I had to go away. I found a little cottage, a tiny, one-room cottage, but it was like a summer cottage, and the winter was really harsh. So I skied there with, it wasn't, the computers weren't there, so I did it on paper. And with the papers and pencils and pens, and there was gas there though. There was a gas stove. But the cottage was summer cottage, so the cold was I don't know how you say it in Fahrenheit, but it's -20 centigrade. Maybe around 0 Fahrenheit or something. So
yeah, I think it's 0 Fahrenheit. Yeah.
Yep, and you couldn't live there because it's just too cold. And I skied to the closest hardware store. I bought a roll of polyethylene film, basically the clear film, and nails, and I put this extra film on every window. There were maybe one window here and a door here. So I closed all the holes with this polyethylene film. And if the gas stove was on, then I could sit on the top on something very high, and that allowed me to be in a normal temperature. And because the hot air would rise up and cold air was down, so I was somewhere in between, trying to find the optimal temperature. But that allowed me to live maybe for a couple of weeks in the forest, in a cottage, and I wrote my PhD thesis, and as a result, I'm here. So the lesson which I wanted to deliver is, just find a way. I mean, there is always a way. There is be inventive. And when the old ways don't work, don't be afraid to go, and not to be ashamed to go new ways. I think at least that's my path to always change things.
So what did you eat during your PhD thesis?
Over there, I remember drinking tea with some alcohol. And I was very skinny, and I don't remember I think pasta. I think it was pasta. Pasta and yeah, it was pasta, carrots, and vegetable oil. That was my diet for a long time. Pasta, carrots, and vegetable oil. I mean, it was hard to find anything to eat, so that was the easiest to find. So one more thing, like in response to Karina's fears, right? Fears. What are you afraid of? What is the worst thing that can happen to you? You will suffer and then you will die, right? And everybody will suffer, everybody will die. So the world will end, right? And if you just accept the worst scenario and you realize you still are an eternal soul and it's all an illusion, and if you just like really understand it as an illusion, to me it took a couple of psychedelic trips on the other side to realize that you can actually leave the body and actually go to hell and visit the hell and come back and still be okay. Um, that did it. So I'm at least on the deeper level, I'm not as afraid of death, and actually looking forward to returning to the spirit world because I was able to see it, I was able to remember it, and coming back to that state is not as scary as it is for many, as it was for me before. So once you like in meditations reconnect to the afterlife, then this life becomes less scary because it's all an illusion. It's all just, as you say, a joke. It's all a lesson. So in any situation, you say, "What's a lesson here? And am I in control? Can I do something?" And sometimes it really helps to give up, like to really give up, like to say, "Here I can do nothing," and it's so much easier. It's so much easier when you are completely out of control, when you give up. And then you say, what can I do that will make me just a little bit happy? And I cannot really project far. I can't really plan ahead. And let me just go from point to point to point to point. Here is another Russian joke. A guy wanted to uh, uh, woke up, his wife left, and there is no money, there is no stuff. And he decided to kill himself. So he found a rope. He stood up on the stool, and he made a hook, made a loop on a hook. And as he was like standing on the stool, he saw a bottle with a little of vodka left on the cabinet. So he said, it's not good to die when you have a little vodka left. And so he took off the rope from his head and he went and took this bottle, and he didn't have any chair, so he sat on the floor and he saw a little piece of a butt of cigarette left. So he lit up the cigarette and drank a little bit of vodka, and he was saying, "Oh, the life is getting better bit by bit." That's what he said. So, and I find myself in that situation so often. Like there is like a complete crash of hope that the pain and depression usually comes from failed expectations. Like you really plan for something, and now all your plans, all your projections for the future like fall apart, and so many sacrifices were made for that future, and now that future is completely different than what you planned, and you just take bit by bit. Chris,
Yeah, I agree.
Chris,
I
do you have
agree.
anything to say for the ending? Because I need to go. My family complains for the sound.
There's someone talking in the toilet.
Right.
Bit
Yeah,
by
well,
bit by bit, you mean staying in the present now. Bit by bit.
Almost, yeah, almost.
Karina,
Almost.
being in the present, it's a never going, it's an ever going state. So being, you know that you can never be 100% in the present, but you can go infinitely to the moment present. And that's going in the present. The more you go into present moment, the more you awake actually. So you don't have to be perfect. Just start with something. Stalk your beliefs, stalk your emotions, your energy. Uh, there's a misconception that I'm in the present, but there's a infinite dimension of being in the present. It's an ever going work, personal work about being in the present.
Okay,
If that
thank
makes
you. I wish you good luck for everybody and thank you for the meeting. It's great.
Well, thank you for joining and thank you for sharing. Nice to
Yeah,
meet you.
thanks Max for doing this.
Yeah, I hope to do more of this. I think that the time came when it's needed. What do you
Yeah,
want to do for closing?
I so much agree with this. I can say the same about the timing.
I
I'm
guess
impressed.
the
I'm
message
impressed.
is let's come together. Yeah, let's come together.
Well,
Good people, let's come together.
I say let's come together, and I'm talking about our energies, our spiritual dimensions. Let's come together.
Mm-hmm. Allah, 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 Om. Ayana, na, 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 Om, mama, mama. Om, ra, na, 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 Om. Creating a vortex of positive energy. Oh, la, 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 ya, na. Om, na, 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 Om, la, 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 Om. I'm wrapping you with positive energy. Oh, la, 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 la. Oh, na, 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 na. Oh. Ay, 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 ay. I'm bringing the angelic energy here. Oh, la, 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 la. Oh. Bringing the
It's here.
source energy right here. Oh, ma, 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 ma. Oh. Inviting the aliens here. Oh, la, 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 la. Uniting with a bright future. Oh, la, 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 la. Oh. And with that, the meeting is complete. Good night. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for this, Max, and thanks for your toning. It's very vibrating in my chest. I love it. And thank God for everything that we are.